we're taking up what is called syllabification. Everyone? Syllabification. One more time. Syllabification. Right here. Ready? Syllabification. And syllabification is the study of syllables. Okay, so we're talking syllables. So, these are terms dealing with syllables. These are the terms dealing with syllables. You have what is called the tonic, you have pretonic, propretonic, and posttonic. And these all have to do with the syllable. So again, everyone with me? Tonic, pretonic, propretonic, and posttonic. So, tonic. What do we mean tonic?
The root, the main one.
Okay. Where the emphasis is placed. Alright, so the word tonic, as in tonic water. What is tonic water?
Medicine.
Medicine? Can be. Huh? Goes good with gin? I wouldn't know. Anyway. Tonic water is water that is fortified. Fortified with what? Minerals, vitamins, those kinds of things. It is a fortified water. Now, some tonic waters come naturally out of the ground that way. Some are mixed, but some tonic water comes naturally out of the ground. It is a water. It's not pure water. It's water with minerals in it. Okay, so it's fortified. That is, that it is strengthened. And so that's the idea here of tonic. Now, this is also rooted in the word tone. Okay? This all comes from the same place and the same idea, to be strengthened. To be the stronger one. To be empowered. Those kinds of things. Okay? So, the tonic is the syllable that takes the emphasis. So, in the word emphasis, M would be a syllable that takes the emphasis. Emphasis. Okay, so the word tone, that that syllable has a quality to it that is stronger than the other syllables. That the sound of that syllable is stronger, is fortified, more than the other syllables. So it's the syllable that takes the emphasis. Now, this mark right here, in Hebrew, this is the mark that tells you. So when you're looking in your Siddurim, when you're looking at the Torah, at the Hebrew Tanakh, when you're looking at these and it has the cancellation marks, it has the nikudim, the vowel markers and everything, it's kind of like the forte sound, or the forte mark in music. Okay, so this will appear above the syllable that is being emphasized. Now, if that mark will appear, if there's another mark, by the way, and it looks like this underneath, that also tells you that the emphasis is on that syllable. It looks like a little L kind of a mark that will appear under. If what you're looking at, if what you're reading has the cancellation marks, you'll see that means to emphasize that syllable. Now, this marking, we'll get into this a little bit later, but this marking will not appear over every word. And we'll get into that later. But this mark occurs, this is the mark that tells you that this syllable is emphasized. So you have the tonic, which is then the syllable that takes the emphasis. Okay? Then you have pre-tonic. So what is pre-tonic? Well, you have tonic, which you got from here. Pre means before. So this is the syllable. The pre-tonic is the, I'll get the tabak out of the way for right now. This is the syllable before the emphasized. Syllable. So pre-tonic is the syllable that comes before the emphasized syllable. Everybody with me? So what is pre-tonic? All right, so you know what pre-tonic is, right? Pre-tonic is this. So what is pro? Before? Before the before. So this is a syllable that comes before the pre-tonic. In other words, what? This you can say this is single syllable. This is how many syllables? Tonic and pre-tonic. So you have two syllables. Now you have pre-tonic, pre-tonic, and tonic. So now you have three syllables. Okay? So the last one, you know what tonic is already. Post means after. So the post-tonic is the syllable after the emphasized syllable. So tonic is the syllable that takes the emphasis. Pre-tonic is the syllable before the emphasized syllable. Pro-pre-tonic is the syllable before the pre-tonic syllable. And post-tonic is the syllable after the emphasized syllable. Okay? Say what? This would be single syllabic. This would be double. This would be triple. This means what? It could be quadruple or it could be triple. Okay? Or two, yes, or two. It can be any of the ones. So, rule number one. Concerning syllables. The tonic almost always will be the final syllable. Okay, the tonic almost always will be. In other words, the syllable that takes the emphasis will almost always come at the end of the word. It will almost always be the final syllable. Now, almost because there's always the exception. Okay? There's always going to be the exception. That is when Bismarck comes into play. If there is an exception, then this mark will tell you this is a word with an exception. Okay? So, we have the word davar. Okay, this is the word davar. Everyone say davar.
Davar.
Dalit, Beit, Resh. Okay, so davar. Davar. So, how many syllables are there to this word? Two. Davar. Okay? So, the emphasis is going to go here. Davar. Everyone? Davar. Now, in Western languages, in English, the emphasis usually goes at the beginning of the word, oftentimes on the first syllable, such as syllable, emphasis. Here's the exception, before. Okay, now the emphasis is at the end, but usually in English, in Western languages, the emphasis comes at the beginning of the word. In Hebrew, it is the opposite, the emphasis, and this is also true with many of the Semitic languages, that the emphasis comes on the last syllable. But there are exceptions to the rule. So here you have the word melech. Okay, by the way, what does davar mean?
Word.
Word or
Thing.
thing. This is the word melech. You have mem, lamed, kaf sofit. Okay, so mem, lamed, kaf sofit, and you have the e sounds, eh. Now remember the rule, we were going through the vowels, that if you have the double E, the double short E here, then the rule is that the emphasis goes on the first syllable. So when you have, if you have this mark, or you have this mark, oftentimes if you have that vowel combination or this vowel combination, then the emphasis is going to go on the first syllable. Okay, everybody with me? Always. So, Gan Eden. Okay? The Garden of Eden. Anytime you have Eretz, as in earth, Eretz. Okay? Even when it takes the Eva, Haaretz, the emphasis goes on the first syllable. So you have this. You have words that, because of the changing of the vowels and the consonants inside of the word, it changes where the emphasis of the syllable is. So you have the word lefanecha, which means before, or literally it means to your face. Okay, to your face, lefanecha. So before you, but instead of the emphasis moving to the last syllable, the emphasis is moved to a middle syllable. Lefanecha. Okay. So whenever you have that, almost always when you have that cha at the end, which means you or your, then that's going to move the syllable. So panecha. Lefanecha comes from panecha. Panecha means your face. Okay? So lefanecha, to your face, or before you. So we say modeh ani lefanecha melech chai. Okay? Modeh ani, I thank you, lefanecha. I thank lefanecha before you, melech, king, chai, living. So basically, I come before you with a thankful heart, with thankfulness before the living king, or I thankfully come before the living king. But that word before, lefanecha, from panecha, your face. Okay? So you have that kind of idea that's taking place here. So, davar, but melech, or lefanecha. So, when the emphasis is not going to be on the last syllable in your Sidurim and in the Tanakh, in the Hebrew Tanakh, you will see that mark above the word, the syllable that is emphasized. Okay? Is everybody with me? All right. In order rule number 2, in order to be a syllable, it must contain at least one consonant and only one vowel. Only one vowel. So in order to count as a syllable, it must have at least one consonant. It must start with the consonant. A vowel cannot start a syllable. Okay? The only time that a vowel starts a word is when you have one of the silent letters, such as aleph or the ayin. Okay? Then the sound starts with the vowel, but you have the consonant in place. Okay? The only other time is when the vav is used as the connector. The word, what is the connector? Which means? And. But if it's like this, okay, it's the vav sound. Vav. Okay? But when there's another explosive consonant coming after the vav, this becomes the U sound. U. Okay? I think we talked a little bit about the fact that you, like for example, you will not have a vav coming, the connector, vav, v, coming before the bait. So that turns it into the u. It means the same thing. It's still the vav, and it still means and. So whether it has this, it's and, or it has this, it's at when it comes at the beginning of the word, when it is a prefix to the word. Okay? So if it says, let me think of a word. Uvrachot. You would not say v'vrachot, but uvrachot, and blessings. Okay? You would say Torah v'Shabbat. Torah v and Shabbat. Torah and Shabbat. For example, Torah and Shabbat go hand in hand, side by side. So you would say Torah v'Shabbat, meaning and. The meaning and. But if there's if the word coming after starts with a plosive and explosive consonant, it's coming off of the lips, then it's going to turn this one into the U. It's kind of the same idea as in Spanish. You have this meaning and. Okay? Either one of these can be and, depending on what letter's coming next. What's the next letter? For example, if you have an I, if you have an I coming after, then usually this is the general and, right? Yo y tú. Right? Okay? But if the letter coming after is an I, then it's going to use this one. Because you don't put two I sounds together like that. It's an uncomfortable feeling. It doesn't belong. Okay? So it would be e instead. For example, increíble. Okay? And incredible. Okay? So that's that kind of idea with the vowel taking place here. Okay? So why am I telling you this? Because you will have this prefix. Okay? You're going to have this prefix, but it is still what letter?
Vowel.
It's still a vowel. And a vowel is a consonant, no? Even if it has the U sound, it's still considered to be a consonant. Okay? So, you must have at least one consonant, and you will only have one vowel. Now this is different. This is different from English. Along with this rule, a subheading under this rule, is that the syllable will always start with a consonant. The syllable will always start with a consonant.
Even if the consonant is silent.
Even if the consonant is silent, it still counts.
Okay.
It is still there. Okay? Where with English, words can start with vowels. In Hebrew, no. Words start with consonants. Okay? Everybody with me?
Yes.
Why does the word start with a consonant? Because if you remember Hebrew, your beginner Hebrew class, the consonants, the vowels did not exist, as in they were not written out, because the emphasis, the descripting factor is the consonant. Remember we talked about why did Hashem start Breshit with the Bet, Reshit. Reshit, bara Elohim Hashamayim ve'etz. Why does he start off, the rabbis asked the question, why did God start off with the second letter, not the first letter? Because the first one has no sound. And so you don't start off the creation story in silence. You actually started off with an explosive, with the lavia. Okay, with the beh sound. Breshit. Is everybody with me? Okay, so for that reason, the Hebrew word is going to start with a consonant. It will not start with a vowel. It will always be a consonant first. Okay? And then the vowel comes under the consonant. So you have this combination, you have this combination. So when you're reading Hebrew, know that you always have the consonant first. Alright? So we divide this into syllables. So here's the syllable. Okay? So you have the dalet and the a sound. Da. That's the first syllable. This is the second syllable. Da, va, va. Now, what do you have? Are we following the rules? Do you have at least one consonant?
Yes.
Yes. You have at least one consonant and only one vowel. You have at least one consonant. Actually, here you have two consonants and only one vowel. Are we following the rules?
Yes.
Yes. This is the way it works. So this is the way you divide up a word into syllables. Okay? So you have da, va. Everyone? Da, va. Da, va. When you're beginning to read, as you begin to read the Hebrew, take it slow, break it up, just like you did learning how to read English or Spanish or whatever. Take it slow, break it up into syllables when you get stuck on a word. How many times did your teacher tell you? Break it up, break the word apart.
Sound it out.
Sound it out. Okay? So, da, ba, here, but the emphasis is here. Okay? So it's me, le. Now here again, you have the syllables. Okay? So you have the men, and the short E right here. Okay, so that is one syllable. Now you have two consonants, only one vowel. Everybody with me?
Yes.
Okay, you will not have two vowels together. You will not have two vowels together. Okay? The other thing is you will not have two consonants together without a vowel in between. And so I had the Shiva up here earlier. So let's look at the Shiva. By the way, before we go there, let's do this. I hope everybody had that. Hello. So, dava. First syllable, what is this? What is this called? What is the term for this one?
Pre-tonic?
Okay, this is the pre-tonic. What is the tonic? The second syllable, where the emphasis is. Okay, so ba is the tonic. So da ba. So pre-tonic, tonic. Everybody with me?
Yes.
Here, they're switched. This is the tonic. This is the post-tonic. It's coming after. Now if you have lefanecha, okay, among others. If you have lefanecha, this should be a what?
PH.
Good, thank you. Lefanecha, lefanecha. Okay, so there, this is the tonic. Here you have all of them. This is the tonic. This is the pre-tonic. This is the pro-pre-tonic. And this is, so now you have them all there demonstrated. Okay? Le-fa-ne-cha. So le, pro-pre-tonic. Fa, pre-tonic. Ne, tonic. Cha, post-tonic. Le-fa-ne-cha. Now, when you're learning some of these, some of the sources and such as that, like they'll change the color of the one that's emphasized, or they'll underline it or something like that as you're learning. So you can go to some of these sites and you'll see things like that occur. Okay? So, Yeshua. Looks like the colon. The Shiva is like a vowel, like a nikud, but it's not. Okay? It's like a nikud, but it's not a nikud. But what the Shiva does, remember we had the Kabetz Shiva and the Tzeres Shiva. In other words, we had the Kataf, the cutoffs. Okay, it has the Shiva that comes after it, which tells you what, you remember? You have something like that, which tells you what? That the sound is very short. Okay? So the Shiva cuts. It cuts off. You can say it cuts off the sound. So it's not a nikud, it's not a vowel, but it tells you to shorten the vowel. Now there are times where the Shiva will have a very short E sound or a very short A sound, something like that. These lines, this means to cut it off. Okay? It'll have a very short E sound or a very short A sound. Remember what I said, that in a single syllable you will not have two consonants side by side. So X marks the spot. X equals consonant. So you have these consonants here. Now, there's no vowel. You have a word here, a word that's taking place here. And you have these consonants together, lined up. It can be any consonant. You have these consonants lined up together. All right? There's no vowel marker under this consonant. If there's no vowel under this consonant, then it tells you what? You're going to the next consonant. Okay? So what they will do is they will put a shabbat under here, which tells you there's no sound there. You're just going from consonant to consonant. Everybody with me? So when you see two consonants side by side, no vowel marker, just the shabbat, that simply means you're going from consonant to consonant. That means that this is a syllable, and then this is a syllable. Everybody with me? For example, in English, if I said this, see there? Perhaps. What do you have? You have two consonants side by side. There's no vowel sound in between. So I would put the shabbat under here to tell you that there's no vowel sound there, that it's two syllables. Okay? Everybody got that? Any questions? Okay, so we're going to stop there for tonight in the Hebrew lesson. Next week, by the way, we're going to start handing out handouts for you, to some homework and things like that, for you to take home, classwork even. You can work on here to help us out with that. So hopefully if I can keep my act together here, we'll get those out for you. Are they going to be graded? We'll be doing self-grading, all right? I won't embarrass you.
Okay, all right.
Okay?
That's fine.
What we're going to get into next week is the dagesh. Okay? Because if you remember, the dagesh, that's this mark here, okay, appears here, 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 and here. And there are two types of dageshim. There are two types of that mark. One is strong and one is weak. It also helps you with the syllables. It tells you where the syllables are occurring. Okay? So, one of the most famous that you would recognize is this one. Okay? So you have the dagesh there. This is a dagesh forte, which means a strong dagesh, because it represents a double V. Okay? Now, there's no dagesh in the top. If you're Ashkenazi, if there's no dagesh there, that makes it a. Okay? If you put when you see the top with the dagesh in it, that's telling you that it's for the Ashkenazi. That's for the Ashkenazi speakers that is a T sound. If there's no dagesh in it, that's an S sound. This is why they say Shabbos. Because there's no dagesh in there, it's an S sound. So, good Shabbos. Okay? In Sephardi, we would say what? Shabbat. Okay? So we're going to talk about the dagesh and its inflections on the syllables next week. Alright? So let's take 5.